Happy Monday, YouTube. Well, at least in a manner of speaking, because I believe this is the start of some not fun times as I get started for this week with last week's final load, moving it on down to its delivery point. Why do I think we're in for some rough times? Well, because of the political sentiment against Russia and by proxy Russia's energy exports, energy and fuel prices are spiking up. I saw an analyst commentary this morning before I got going out here to the truck to get started up for the day that some folks are expecting prices of oil to hit $200 per barrel before the end of March, which is not at all good news for anyone. The average price of a gallon of gas, regular octane fuel, I believe, is somewhere in the mid to high fours on a national level. I believe, it could be wrong though. But I do know that diesel is in the high fours on a national average, because I paid $5.08 a gallon in Western Pennsylvania on Friday, and then I paid 2 days before that I paid $4.34 a gallon in Eastern Ohio. So, and then fuel was, I think, in the 490s, 480s, 490s in Western Ohio, or Eastern Ohio, I'm sorry. That same day, and I figured the price difference is so negligible, just get it in Pennsylvania and have done. So I did, and here we go. But anyway, there is a very strong likelihood that we could see $6-7 diesel, truck diesel this month, which is not going to be good news for anybody. And the cost of regular octane fuel is probably going to be mid fives, high fives on the average, probably even over 6 at some point, which those are prices and price ranges I haven't seen myself since Hurricane Katrina and the onset of the Great Recession. So, going to be a rough month. On the other hand, one benefit, tangentially I suppose you could say, to this whole thing is that now it is commercially profitable and viable for domestic energy production in the U.S. to really pick up the slack and really start filling out our domestic consumption needs, as well as exporting energy to the folks we like, so to speak. Because I remember reading ages back that for domestic energy production, when it comes to hydraulic fracking, to be commercially viable, oil needs to be around $90 to $120 a barrel, somewhere in that range, so that the companies that are doing hydraulic fracking, it makes financial sense for them to proceed with that. Apparently, at that time, very costly process. I have no idea if that cost has gone down since then, or if it's remained constant. I really have no idea. I'm just, sort of regurgitating what I heard back then, as opposed to bringing new information to the table, which I really should do that at some point, get educated on some of these energy production processes, because it does directly affect my business as an owner-operator. But, just if the United States elected to supply its own fuel needs, it does have the option to a point, control the domestic price of energy at the consumer level, meaning for the regular everyday commuter, as well as businesses like myself, delivery businesses, the Amazon delivery businesses, and UPS, FedEx, all those guys, and just the usual freight operations as well. So we could return to the so-called dark days of the Trump era, Trump presidency, where we were essentially energy independent as opposed to being energy dependent. Because thanks to Mr. Putin, it is no longer politically viable for the United States to offset and outsource its carbon numbers for energy production to Russia and consume Russian oil. We now have to utilize our own reserves, our own energy stockpiles, in order to ensure, that energy remains at a reasonable, sustainable price. Because inflation is terrible. A lot of folks are going to get hit harder by it than they have already in the coming weeks and months here. If we thought the supply chain interruptions were bad during 2021, it's probably going to be even worse through the end of 2022. But at the same time, there are opportunities for a lot of American companies and American initiatives to take point and replace foreign options. We need to be in control of our own energy market. We need to be able to set the tone for our energy needs. A lot of folks say this is a great opportunity to get away from oil entirely. We don't have the infrastructure to go away from oil. We do not have it. If you want to go away from oil today, the economy of the United States shuts down for 2 years. That's minimum. 2-year shutdown. Good luck with that. And it's not going to happen. Too many people would lose their jobs. People would go hungry. There'd be riots. You thought things in 2020 were bad? Shut down the economy for 2 years and see what happens then. Yeah, someone's going to get killed. Let's just be real here. A lot of someone's going to get killed, more accurately. It's going to run the entire spectrum from the very poor to the very rich. Let's just be real here. So, we have the opportunity. We need to capitalize on it, because otherwise the cost of everything is going to get higher than it already is. Ideally, things will, try to stabilize or begin to return to the process of stabilizing end of March into April, so that we have a diplomatically positive spring, but we won't see that until we actually see it. Ukraine still has to win. Russia still has to realize that unless they commit their entire military force and just go all out, they're not going to win, at least not at this point. Not the way they're currently prosecuting this conflict. So it's right now there are no winners in this situation. Yeah, Ukraine can be called the winner, but they're losing people. Their cities are being destroyed. Their land is being torn up by wrecked tanks and aircraft. Their own infrastructure is being hit pretty badly. They will come out of this, at least right now, they'll come out of it independent, but they're going to have a long road ahead of them to recover and get back to where they were before February 24th, 2022. Russia is going to be in the dumpster for the next 3 to 10 years minimum. And the real question for Russia is going to be, what will their new government look like? Will it be some leftover Soviet hardliners from the Cold War trying to warm themselves in the memory of Stalin and Khrushchev? Or will it be some folks who grasp the modern reality of how the world is and actually try to do business with everybody on a fair playing field and be actual friends with everybody, as opposed to being, the bad old bear that everyone used to be afraid of and has now been colossally embarrassed on a global scale? We will not know until it actually manifests and materializes. And we are all hopeful that the next government of Russia is one that is, a government that we can all actually be friends with. Because the Russian people by themselves, excluding their government, the Russian people are good people. I have no ill will to the Russian people whatsoever. I know for a fact it is the government of Russia that is, literally dragging them unwillingly into this madness. And the Russian people themselves are just along for the ride. That's just how I see it. I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but I'm making allowances for the fact that I could indeed could be wrong. But anyway, it's a snowy Monday. I'm going to stop bringing some gloom and doom because it will be a beautiful day. Lovely weather, sort of. I mean, it's wet snow, so no issues with traction. I don't have to worry about slipping and sliding on the way to my delivery. So it's going to be a good day. I think it'll be a good week. You know, I think the freight market's going to be a little bit crazy for the rest of the month, but we'll see how it shakes out. It'll be crazy good, it'll be crazy bad, and then crazy all points in between. The cost of fuel is going to suck, but you know, that is the cost of doing business. And then we'll see where it shakes out from there. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great Monday yourself. If you're watching this on a Monday, thank you very much. And I will see you down the road.